Okay.
Hey everyone, welcome to the 19th episode of the Otafest Podcast. This is the second episode of the season, the second season. We've just started up, and we're here at Otafest Aurora live with Eric Stuart, our special guest. I'm Jay.
I'm Dio.
I'm Alfred.
I'm Eric.
Ooh. Hello, Eric.
And Eric's known for a couple of things.
Eric's known for a couple of things.
Just a couple things here and there. Just want to thank our sponsors real quick. Funimation Now, Level 1 Escape Room, and Memory Express.
Thank you very much.
We'll be talking about them a little bit later, but I promise we won't be filling the waves with too much ads. However...
Corporate sponsorship is good, just not too much of it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Alfred, do you have some Otafest stuff you'd like to tell us about?
Well, first of all, I don't know if you guys noticed or not, it's Otafest Aurora 2016
Yeah,
right
we're
now.
here.
Crazy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're right here.
You guys been enjoying yourselves so far?
Yeah.
Ooh, yay. So thank you guys for making it out. We got a ton of amazing stuff waiting for you today, so be sure to visit our cosplay contests. The video gaming room is huge this year, or in this symposium room, I believe.
Yep.
And we have our maid cafe and photo booth in Heritage Hall. I hope you guys all check that out. Got some nice tea, nice trinkets there. And the exhibitors hall, of course, and that's located in the main atrium.
You had to go through it to get here, so
Yeah, exactly.
I hope you can see that.
And we have special guest events featuring Inela Cosplay, Stephanie Shea, and of course, Mr. Eric Stuart, alongside all of the amazing community panels. Really, without the community panels, this con would be nothing. So thank you guys. If you have, if you're panel runners, we really value you. Thank you very much.
If you're thinking of hosting a panel,
Please
absolutely
do.
submit it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So hopefully everyone knows the schedule by now. If you don't, you can visit sketch.org. That's Otafest Aurora 2016.sketch.org to customize your schedule. And last but not least, Otafest 2017 passes are available now for pre-purchase. Everyone can save $20 off the door price for purchasing their Otafest 2017 pass using early bird pricing, which is only $40 for the entire convention weekend when you register before December 31st of this year. Otafest 2017 will be held downtown at the TELUS Convention Center from June 30th to July 2nd. Visit otafest.com/tickets to buy your pass online.
So yeah,
Yeah.
you can save some money
Save some money.
for the whole weekend. That's basically a whole day's worth of activities that you can essentially get for free.
Who's
if you
pre-purchased their pass already for Otafest?
do it now?
Do it now. Do it now.
Nobody?
Nobody. That's right.
If you guys
You
are like
gotta
best
do
friends,
it.
you can be like, I'll buy it for you for Christmas. It's
Yeah.
not bad.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
it could
a
be
good Christmas present.
gift.
Yeah, exactly. Otafest tickets.
Yep.
You're welcome.
So I want to jump straight ahead because I've been actually really excited. We've had a chance to talk a little bit before meeting Mr. Eric Stuart here, voice actor and band talent extraordinaire.
Thank you.
Not
Hailing
modest at all.
from Nashville, Tennessee, weighing in at
Yeah, exactly.
in the black hat.
It's all of those little, what are those Timbits you guys keep giving me? That's
Oh,
the-
God.
yeah.
Have you been enjoying Tim Hortons at all? Like
Yeah.
the Canadian cuisine?
I love Tim. I know they're not sponsoring. They should sponsor you. I love their coffee, and I actually have a Tim mug at home that I drink my coffee in.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
When
yeah.
was the last time you were in Canada?
Oh, goodness. Maybe about a month ago? No? Yeah, maybe a month ago I did a convention in Montreal.
Oh, cool.
And
Okay.
I've also done one in London, Ontario.
Is that Otaku-thon over in Montreal?
Yep.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah. Okay. Our
nice.
friends over at Otaku-thon.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
yeah.
It gave me a chance to practice my bad French.
See, that's French Canada, though. It's a little
Yes.
different from
Trust
normal
us,
normal
in Western
Canada.
we
Excuse
all
me.
have bad French.
All of us. Omelette du fromage.
Yep.
We
So-
baguette?
Yeah, just in case for some reason you don't know what our friend here does, he is Seto Kaiba of the Yu-Gi-Oh series.
Of Yu-Gi-Oh fame, yes.
He has roles as Brock and James from
And
Pokemon,
James.
the original series.
That blew my mind when I first found that
Yeah,
out.
so many, and like just a bunch of random Pokemon voices. Actually, when I was looking everything up, your most consistent one was Squirtle, and I love
Yes.
that.
yes. Squirtle was the first Pokemon that I got to voice, and my favorite as well because he wears
Those sweet
Ray-Ban-
sunglasses?
Yeah, he wears Ray-Bans, and I thought that that was
He's
that made-
cool.
yeah.
Absolutely. Gary Gabriev of Slayers, which is a beautiful classic, and basically, if you're a '90s nerd,
Yep.
You grew up on those shows.
Eric's voice has been part of your childhood, whether you liked it or not.
only the good part. The other stuff is one of your siblings.
Yeah. So yeah, how do you like Aurora so far? I mean, it's a little bit different. It's WinterCon, so
Yeah, but you guys brought the nice weather for me.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you brought it
Yeah.
up from Tennessee.
Oh, is
Yeah,
what it is?
yeah, you brought it with you. No, it's Aurora's,
ago,
yeah,
wow.
2 years ago. We had
Yeah.
it was a minus 30. Just the
Blizzard.
It was a
blizzarding.
blizzard.
We appreciate everyone who actually made it out. People will travel from nearby cities and stuff, but the roads were so bad.
Yeah, so-
And it was like it's not on the convention side of things as an organizer. It is a little bit frustrating, but I mean it's something that you can't control. It's out of your
Right,
It's out of
yeah.
your ability. So you just appreciate that much more about people who make it in safely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
And we're not gonna. Yeah, we were at one point. We're like, no, just stay where
Just
you
stay at
guys
home.
I
are.
definitely
Stay at home,
heard. I
yeah.
definitely heard about a few car accidents when I got to the con.
Yeah.
I spun out on the way to the con. It was a
But this year we're good. So
yeah, we've got like a little.
This is better
taste
than some of our
summer.
summer cons.
Yeah.
it kind of is.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in New York, and so I had to shovel my walk, and I've seen snow, and of course now that I moved to Nashville, I guess I've lived there now about 8 years.
Do you miss it?
I don't miss the snow.
No?
I do still
That's
have
fair.
No one does.
a snow shovel in my garage, which I think one of my neighbors asked me the other day what that was, because they'd never seen one before. And we do get a little bit of snow, but it's kind of a joke in Nashville. But,
Yeah.
But like even that little bit will like shut the city
Shut
down.
the
a
city
bit,
down.
right?
It's like
well,
Vancouver.
it'll
yeah.
shut it down. I think I don't know how many years ago it was, but I think one year when it snowed a little bit, they decided not to shut the schools down, and the buses got stranded because we don't plow the street.
Oh,
the
yeah,
streets.
yeah.
And
Well, you don't have
because
the
of
equipment
that-
to plow the streets,
right.
really,
So
right?
what
Yeah.
they did was they said, now if you mention the S word, even if it's not going to snow, if someone says, I've seen snow, school's closed. Just to avoid that. So yeah. And we get a little bit of ice, and we get, but it's also remember that Nashville drivers are not used to driving in the snow. You
Yeah.
guys
Right,
are
exactly.
used to driving it.
Well, you would think that, but then you go on the roads during the
Yeah.
winter.
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
you're
the
like,
joke is that like the first snow of the year is literally like good luck. Like the rest.
Good
of
luck
the,
getting
Yeah.
anywhere.
Yeah, exactly. So speaking of Nashville, something crazy about Nashville that you can tell us. Like the majority of us has never been to Nashville,
I've
and
never been
all I
there.
know is that it's country music central.
Yeah.
Well,
which
Yeah.
is like Calgary's like stepsister kind of thing.
Yeah,
Well, what's cool about Nashville is it's really music city. Even
Right,
though
right,
it's the
yeah.
center of country music, it's really music city. So
Mhm.
the industry really hasn't changed very much in all of the years that it's been in existence in terms
Right.
of the process.
Mhm.
Songwriters are pretty much more important than the artists.
Right.
And
They
it's
give
one
life
of
to
the,
the artists.
well, it's also one of the few genres where most of the artists, except now you'll see sometimes they list themselves as the songwriter, which
Mhm.
is not always the case.
Right.
But most of the artists look for songs.
Mhm.
So there are songwriters who then shop the songs with the help of a publisher to the artists to see if they will get a cut, it's called. Get a
Interesting.
song on
Okay.
their album. So you'll see multiple songwriters on, the Garth Brooks record or the, Brad Paisley's record.
Mhm.
So the community is supported by all of these pieces.
Right, right.
Studios are in business to cut the demos of those songs to be pitched to the artists. So there are demo singers that are hired to sing the songs and demo musicians. And then once the artist decides to do it, then it's recut in another studio. And so there's this
Wow.
This whole process, yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's very industry oriented.
It's very industrial, and
Yeah.
being a
Yeah.
songwriter, you have a chance of maybe making a living without being quote unquote famous to the masses.
Right.
There's two streets in Nashville, Music Row. There's like two long streets where every record label and publishing house is next to each other. So you
Wow.
drive up
Wow.
one, drive, that's it. That's where all the business takes place. And you'll drive down, and there'll be posters advertising a hit song,
Mhm.
and it'll say, hit song written by Joe Smith in huge letters, and then smaller, recorded by Garth Brooks. Because the songwriter is,
Wow.
because
Yeah.
the artists, unless you have a career like Garth, usually are not around forever.
Mhm.
But the songs can be redone, and that songwriter, you can go back to that
Yeah.
songwriter and get more
The
songs.
Over and
song is
over
what's
again.
legendary.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's really cool. And plus, yes, there's a lot of country music in terms of the main industry, but just below that, the amount of music that goes on there that's not country music. I mean, we've got, Jack White lives there. And,
Mhm, yeah.
You've got Justin Timberlake just bought a house there. And there's a lot of rockers that live there. And so it's a very cool combination of all the different styles. So it's not just country music.
Interesting. Yeah, and that's I know that's what it's known for, and
Yeah.
we in Calgary we kind of steal that identity. at least we try to.
Yeah, well, when I drove up to the hotel and I saw all of these people with cowboy hats on, I thought you guys were having like a country music convention. And then I was told, like, no, we have cowboys here. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, sure we do.
Yeah.
No, it's the Stampede, the Calgary Stampede.
The Calgary
right?
Stampede.
And we
How
have
do
we
you-
have like a beer garden named in honor of Nashville North, which is
Yeah.
which is
Which
kind of
is a
It's really just
schlocky. It's kind of
it's just
schlocky.
a drunk tank with music.
With music.
gross.
With music, but
Yeah.
it's mostly a drunk tank.
Yeah.
Okay.
With how much like music of the music industry is there? How much voiceover of the voiceover industry is there? Considering that there's there's obviously a lot of people who are kind of within the same circles maybe, but not interested in maybe even producing the exact same material.
Well, I've always said that, in terms of voice work, the cartoon stuff that I do, though it might be the thing that I'm most famous for, has not been the thing that's paid me the most in the industry. Commercial work, audiobooks, things
Yeah,
like that. Anything that involves voice work is what you are as a voice actor. So you can be a big fish in a small pond. Nashville is in Tennessee, which is considered a right-to-work state. And I don't know if you guys know that expression, but in New York, where I used to work, if you want to work in the industry, you basically have to do union work. You have to be part of SAG and AFTRA. Tennessee is a right-to-work state, which means that you can do non-union work, which also means that you can keep undercutting how much you charge, which makes the rates go lower and lower.
Right.
And
It's
lower.
it's extremely competitive in that sense.
And it can destroy the industry because if normally, let's say, to do a TV voiceover, I would get $500 for a session via the union. A non-union guy will say, in a right-to-work state, well, I'll only charge you $200.
Yeah.
So they keep undercutting and undercutting until they make it so that it's no longer about the quality of what you want. It's
Lowest
it's
price.
lowest price, which is not how it should be.
Yeah.
So in terms of Nashville as a voice acting hub, there's localized commercials, and I do a lot of remote things. I work on cartoons remotely because I've got a studio there.
Right,
I
yeah.
couldn't have started there because it's not, a
Wow.
main mecca. But if I just wanted to do audiobooks and I wanted to do local commercials and things like that, I could make a living there. But it's it's just the different categories of things that you want to do.
Yeah.
A lot of fans will ask, how do I get into the business? How do I do this? I want to be a cartoon voice actor. And I say, well, that's really just a small part of being a voice actor. I do stuff for a big car company
Right.
where I do their in-house training narrations. I teach the sales force how to sell cars. And I don't know anything about that stuff. But I record all of their things for them, and you'll never see it unless you work for that car
Yeah,
company.
there's a little training seminar room, and they wheel in a little
Yeah, well,
AV stand
Yeah.
with a little CRT TV, and it's like, "Hi, I'm."
yeah, well, they watch it on. It's on their. It's
Yeah,
their
yeah,
web.
yeah.
It's their webisodes. They have to take a course every couple of weeks to whatever it is.
Yeah.
But that's something that you'd never see as the general public. But that's a very good gig,
That makes sense.
and you can
Right,
do that
yeah.
anywhere you have a microphone.
And it's all corporate, so
It's all corporate, and it's
Yeah.
also unsupervised. It's basically they send me a script and say, we need this in 2 days. Can you do it? And you say, yeah. And you record it, edit it, and send it to them, and they say thank you. That's it.
Yeah. Wow.
So there are ways to work in the voiceover industry that's not necessarily, the fame and fortune side of it, or
Sure.
what seems like fortune side,
Right.
but the fame side, which is the notoriety.
But all the a lot of the your paycheck kind of comes in.
Yeah.
on,
Yeah,
on
like
the other
like
projects that
getting the
you're
bills
not, like-
paid, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, anything that involves the art of using your voice is voice acting.
So is
Yeah.
that how you got started?
I actually got started. I've been a musician longer than I've been a voice actor, but my start was it was really an accident. One of the other things that I did in my youth was I was a tennis pro, and I worked at a tennis club where one of the members owned a recording studio, and she knew that I was interested in music and recording in the audio world, and offered me a job as an assistant at the studio, and I thought that they were going to be doing music. Because I was very excited about that. Like, yeah, job in a recording studio. And it turned out that they basically focused on radio and TV voiceovers. So I learned from being the coffee guy to being the assistant casting director. Then I was a casting director. Then I was a producer. And in that process, I'd have to fill in during casting sessions, reading with people. Because if you've ever been to a radio casting session, let's say it's a 2-character commercial.
Mm-hmm.
I might have brought in 10 guys and 10 girls. In the 11th hour, maybe one of the guys doesn't show up, and that girl needs someone to read with. So as the casting director, I'd jump in the booth and read with them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the client started to pick me.
That's good.
They'd say, we like the last guy who didn't say his
yeah.
name. And I'm like, well, that's just me. So it made sense to me that that was a way that I could use the tool of my trade, which, of course, as a singer, it's very helpful to sing, to also be a voice actor, because inflection is pitch. It's all the same stuff. But also not do on camera or film, because I thought if I was going to be a oh-so-sensitive rock and roll guy singing heartfelt songs, I shouldn't be the Tidy Bowl Man. Then that you'd go, oh, it's the Tidy Bowl Man singing me a heartfelt love song. But as a voice actor, it's a little bit more anonymous. And,
Right.
You know, unless you're doing stuff like this, we're like, oh, that's what he looks like, right?
Right,
Makes
right.
conventions, yeah.
Mm-hmm. But that being said, though, there's kind of been like a recent trend of voice actors gaining a lot more like being able to flex some other like skills of their craft as well. I mean, like there's guys like Troy Baker, Nolan North, right? They're known for mocap, and they're known for
Right.
like they have stage experience as well, right? So it's like, would you be interested in getting to stuff like that at all?
No, not at all. It's funny. It's like there are voice actors that have then branched into becoming musicians, which is why a lot of people ask me, so when did you make that decision to go from voice acting to music? And it's actually the other way around for me.
Yeah.
See, and that makes more sense to me, anyways,
Right.
because music is a little bit more universal in terms of,
Right.
wanting to get into that career, that industry,
Right.
Right. Voice acting is much more niche in that sense, or at least it seems to be.
Well, if you, I mean, in 8th grade, I knew I wanted to be a musician. In 8th grade, I did not want to be an actor. Most of my friends who are voice actors wanted to be actors. And this is part of that package of being an actor. For me, it was, I want to be a musician. Oh, here's a way I can earn a living as, and I enjoy acting, but that wasn't my choice as a kid to, like, this is my path. So a lot of these guys that do the other things, like the motion capture, stuff like that, I'm sure that they have stage experience. I'm sure that they did not start their lives as a voice actor and then decided, wait a second, I have this other ability of being able to move well and stuff like that.
Okay,
They've probably done plays, they've probably done TV, movies, film, stuff like that. For me, I definitely think that the skill set of someone who can do live theater, of course, being a songwriter and performer,
Right.
I'm doing live theater. I have to memorize my songs, but I don't have to memorize someone else's words. I'm not memorizing Shakespeare. I'm not memorizing, a 50 to 100 page play. I'm not doing that, and I'm always amazed at that. And also the nuance of being able to save the scene when someone gets off script and getting them back on, and that's the joy to me of the magic of live theater.
Right.
And even on camera, the subtleties of expressions and pauses, which as a voice actor, if I pause, you change the channel.
Correct. Yeah.
So I am envious of that kind of skill, but it's not something that I want to do. That's
Right.
not my thing.
Right. Now that being said, though, and just we're all on the same lines of like, so you were talking about like being able to improvise, go on the fly, and that leads to some funny moments. Do you have any like funny moments or fond memories of recording the shows that you've done? Anything like hilarious you want to share with us?
Well, we do a lot of outtakes anyway. Some of them I can't say, but we do a lot of outtakes. And to me, the key to a good outtake
Right.
is to always stay in character. So if you're doing Brock's voice and you make a mistake, you continue it in Brock's voice. That's what makes it funny. But sometimes you'll throw an ad lib in because you've lost your place on the script, and it's the right moment. It's not the right words, and they go, "That's funnier than what's in the script. Let's keep that."
Yeah.
With Slayers, the scripts were never fully written on time. And for those of you who don't know Slayers, Gowrie and Lena are they're a comedic team. Lena yells at Gowrie a lot, and Gowrie is kind of a moron, but a sweet moron. He's got a good heart.
Right.
And I remember there was this one scene in one of the episodes where there was lip flap, but there was no line on the script. A lot of times, even the writers don't even see tiny lip flap until we put it up on the higher res TV, and we go, "Wait a second, there should be something there." And so there was a scene where Gowrie is surprised by a giant angry chicken, and the flaps, as we call them, it was 3 flaps. It was one and then a 2-syllable word. And the director said to me, we need to write something in there. And I said, wait, I've got it. Just let it roll. Hit record, I've got it. And the line was just, chicken! And he was like, that's great, let's use that. And so, like things like that. Like you just make stuff up and they get kept in the show. I don't know if I can reveal this. This was a kind of a very I don't know if it'll make it to the behind the scenes, but when we were, this will be like, ooh, he revealed this.
Exclusive.
While we were doing the new Yu-Gi-Oh movie, there was a moment that reminded me of Raiders of the Lost Ark. One of the villains is just going off with this whole big long list of threats and obnoxious stuff, and Kaiba's standing next to Mokuba, and we're listening to this entire rant, and I had a line, and I wasn't even looking at the script, I was just watching this thing for a second, and so I turned to Mokuba, and my outtake was, shoot him, Mokuba. and they were like, wish we could use that.
Yeah, I bet there's quite a few legendary behind the scenes.
Maybe,
cuts,
that might get to the outtake.
You know, the special edition Blu-ray or something.
The whole room laughed hysterically, and I was like, that is pretty good. So like I said, if you're going to do it, you have to stay in character.
That was actually one of the things I've always loved about the Yu-Gi-Oh card universe. It's like there's plenty of adults with like all the resources in the world to get things done, and they still have to resort to like sitting down playing for a card game for 20 minutes. And when like Seto Kaiba's character in like the first season, he basically kills Yugi's dad. And
or
like for a card, right? Like sends him to the Shadow Realm, right?
Yes.
So for like one card, of which he already has 3 of, by the way. And it's like, why would you do that? You could just like Pegasus or whoever like prints the card, and be like, you know that PDF file,
right? Make another
1401. Just make another one of those.
That's right.
Here's money.
I actually a couple of times, I think maybe 3 or 4 times, fans have brought me 4 Blue Eyes. I've signed them and then torn the 4th one.
Oh yeah, because you're supposed to, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But what's really funny is the original cards are like triple laminated. So I usually have to this is another trade secret. I usually have to I cut it with a knife. And then I can tear it. It's like trying to rip a phone book in half. When they're like, could you tear this card? I'm like, no. I really can't tear that card in half.
Yeah.
It's like, no. I don't want to just damage your belongings. No, I physically can't. No. Wow.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes.
Trade secret, huh?
Yeah, sorry about that. Have to reveal.
I
You
could
ruined
just
everything, clearly.
picture you like just very sneakily, like you're just, and there's like a machete in your pocket or something ridiculous.
Yeah, I can't travel with it here. I mean, I wear, I don't know if you guys know what a Leatherman is.
Yeah.
Because I
Okay.
use it to change my guitar string, stuff like that, but it's got a knife in it. But of course, I can't fly with it.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
So if I'm going to a convention I can drive to, I'll be able to do that.
Right.
If I'm flying somewhere, I tell them I can't. I won't tear your card in half. Not today.
No, we got we have Leathermans, but they don't have knives in them.
Yeah.
They're just multi-tools.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
We're a very weapon averse country.
up here in Canada.
Yes. Well, hey, I respect that. I respect that. No,
It's just
the
different.
knife in my Leatherman is hardly a weapon, but
Yeah.
it's still a knife. Yep.
Yeah.
Just a knife is
It's a baby knife.
Many
Baby,
knives in Canada are considered to be like a weapon straight up. Like spring loaded is illegal.
Oh yes. No, well, that's
Spring
illegal.
Like, that's
yeah,
illegal in
that's
general,
illegal
of course.
anywhere. Yeah,
but
yeah.
but even your typical like switchblade is something that
Well, switchblades
most
are illegal
private-
everywhere.
Yeah.
No, it's like just any pocket knife.
Right.
Like a
is grounds
jackknife,
for
yeah, okay.
confiscation.
Yeah,
In
jackknives and
Canada,
stuff,
like
yeah.
on private, on any kind of private ground, if you enter any
Mm-hmm.
kind of event, they want to do a bag checking. Like, I don't care if it's that little dinky one on the back of your
credit card or
toenail
whatever.
cutter.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm sorry, but you're not gonna. You got to go get another one at the dollar store.
No, I get it.
Yeah.
I actually went to I don't know if you know, the Grand Ole Opry is the most famous venue in Nashville. It's actually, the new one is at a different location, but the original is called the Ryman Auditorium, which is a beautiful, beautiful building.
Right.
And I went to see a concert there the other night, and I forgot that I had my Leatherman on me. And they had metal detectors at the door.
Uh-oh.
Because
Oh,
it was
yeah,
actually
yeah.
a Cat Stevens concert, and of course there was a lot of security there.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh no, what do I do? What do I do? And I looked around and I saw that there was this little patch of grass like nearby. And so I took my Leatherman out and I casually walked over and dropped it over the wall, thinking that the wall was like 2 feet down, whatever. Went to see the show, and I came out and I took my phone and I looking down, and the thing's like 6 feet
Oh my god, it's
into
gone
like
forever.
the wheat.
Oh.
No, and so I jump in there, and because I have an original Leatherman. It's like 20 years old.
Oh,
yeah.
so
And
it's
I'm
worth
digging
it.
around for this thing, and people are like, "What is that guy doing?" And I'm like, "Just drop my phone. Just looking for my phone."
As you have your phone.
I think this might.
Holding it up. It's
I'm
like
holding my
this,
phone. Has anybody got a rope that can help me get out of here? But I did find it, thank goodness.
Oh, that's
But,
good.
like I dropped it, it rolled down the hill. Like it was like, what did I just do?
Yeah.
No, that's. I think that happens to a lot of people. You can walk into any venue, you get searched, and then
Well, you remember but it's the ones that are getting onto the planes that go, "Oh man, I didn't realize I had my 45 in my carry-on." You're like,
Oh, yeah.
"What?"
Yeah. No jailbreak security, so it's like, yeah.
So I just gotta do a quick interruption here
Okay.
for our first ad read. We want to thank Funimation Now for helping sponsor our event and the Otafest podcast.
Thanks for the money.
Yeah. Here's why a Funimation Now premium subscription is the best way to watch your favorite anime. Get access to all of Funimation's streaming content, including hundreds of shows, movies, and early access home video dubs. Watch ad-free anime in HD anytime, anywhere on your desktop, or with any of our free mobile and console apps. Be the first to stream exclusive English dubs shortly after their original Japanese broadcast. And you can visit www.funimation.com/p/30-day free trial. I wish I could come up with a better URL for you, but that's what they gave us. Now for more information, and you can start your free 30-day trial. After your free trial, pay only $6 a month for your premium subscription. We want to thank Funimation for being a long-term partner with Otafest. They've actually helped us out with some of our showing rooms in the past and letting us, stream the great shows that they have. And when they're working with us, we that helps us bring the content to you, the audience, the best anime showings possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
But again, I think we're running mostly Funimation stuff right now.
Pretty much exclusively in the showing
showing
rooms.
rooms.
Yeah.
It's all Funimation.
Yep.
So if you don't have a Funimation Now subscription, you should probably go get one.
Yep.
It's well worth it, in my opinion. That's coming from someone who has a Crunchyroll subscription as well.
Yeah,
So
they're
it's,
partnered now, so
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of anime, Eric, how did you get into just not just voice acting in general, but like for anime specifically? There's a different trade. There's a different art to dubbing anime versus a cartoon,
Right.
say, right? Because if it's locally animated, you can match lip movements a lot better. For anime, like what other than matching lip movements, what is the challenge there? Is there anything else?
So the two things in terms of the cartoons I work on, there's ADR, which we're matching lip flap to pre-existing
Right.
art, and usually done originally in another language. And then there's prelay, which is like any of your movies today where you see Disney and stuff like that, or Pixar, where we record the voices first, assemble that dialogue, and the animators draw it to that dialogue. Not unlike Brock and James are done in Japanese first, and stuff like that.
Right.
Matching lip flap requires pretty much 50% acting and 50% technical. You have a set amount of lip flaps, and the breaks and the cadence is already set, and then you've got a line, and you're like, well, how do I deliver this line in a way that's funny? Because timing, comedy is all about timing, and if the lip flap is not broken up the right way, you can't make it funny,
Right.
or it's a challenge, or the character looks incredibly angry, and they want you to play it subtle. Read the line subtle. You're like, but look at his face. So you have to sort of go against your instinct and do the 50% technical side of I'm going to match the lip flap and not worry so much about what I'm seeing in terms of his, the energy
Right.
or whatever. Whereas the prelay stuff is a lot more fun. You read the line any way you want. You make it funny, you make it serious, and then let the animators do the work. I actually got to work on the first Madagascar film.
Ooh.
I sat in with Chris Rock. I was
Wow.
I was the Ben Stiller stand-in, and they had a camera on Chris the whole time because the animators could look and sync up his dialogue
Right.
with his facial expressions so that
Okay.
the character looked like Chris.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was very, very cool. So that allows the actor to do whatever they want to do. Not so much with ADR. But being a musician helps because I can watch the phrasing of the lip flap and know the timing of it in one take. If you play it for me and the line is written correctly, I'll be able to read it in that pace because of rhythm and timing.
Right.
It's like if you hear a song on the radio and you hear that first chorus, by the time the second chorus comes along, you probably can sing along with it. You probably have a good sense of timing
Yeah.
and rhythm.
Yeah.
So
Not so much you could sing the notes, but
Yeah.
you could sing along with the pace.
So to look
Yeah.
at the facial expressions of a character,
but
though.
now this is like that's a little bit interesting. I'm guessing that you kind of submitted more like voice lines and let the director just kind of handle it for the role I'm going to ask about, which is Meta Knight for Kirby,
Was
because he doesn't
yeah.
have a mouth.
It's
So it's
good that
kind
you
of-
brought up Meta Knight. For those of you who don't know Meta Knight, I'm doing my Antonio Banderas before he did Shrek, so I actually say that he's doing me doing him.
Oh.
Okay. So when they asked me to audition for Meta Knight, they said we want this to be kind of Clint Eastwood, and I said, well, if I do my Clint Eastwood, it's going to be more like Seto Kaiba, and I'm already doing Yu-Gi-Oh, so it's got to be different. And let me just backtrack a second. I'm definitely one of the voice actors that I don't want to use the same voice for multiple characters.
Correct. Yeah.
Yes, if I'm using my own voice and it's just Eric acting, fine. I've done that many times. But if I'm playing a character, especially on shows that are running at the same time, I don't want you to go, oh, that's Eric Stuart, because that breaks that wall down. I want you to say, oh, it's Brock. Oh, it's James. And then you go, wait a second, that's the same guy?
That's exactly what
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah, that is exactly what happened to me.
That's exactly what happened to us.
Or even on different shows, it's like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm using this voice for Seto Kaiba. I don't want to be that cool guy, that same voice in another show. It's just gonna be distracting. So I said, well, I really can't do my Clint Eastwood for this. I said, what if I do Antonio Banderas? And the producer at the time said, why would he be Spanish? And I said, why not?
Agree.
And
You
they
can't tell he's
said-
wearing a mask.
He's-
like,
he's-
you know,
And they
got a
said,
mask.
well,
whatever.
okay, that makes sense. And the nice thing about it is because he has no lip flap, all I needed to do was match the bookends of the timing he was allowed to speak.
Okay.
So if there were 5 seconds of dialogue, it didn't matter where I put the pauses, as long as I didn't go over.
Yeah.
And so I could talk like this without worrying about lip flap. And that made it work. I couldn't have done that voice in any other character in that
Yeah,
show
yeah.
that
Mhm.
flapped, because then you'd be stuck in the phrasing and it wouldn't be Antonio. So that's why that choice was made. And actually, I'll tell you a quick little funny story actually a touching story about that. So for years, I didn't do a lot of conventions because I was so crazy busy. The schedule of directing shows and acting in so many of the shows, and then trying to find the time to do music, I couldn't take breaks. Like a weekend was not a weekend. I still was working on the weekends too. So then when I made the move to Nashville, I started to get more time to get a chance to go out and do conventions. And it's really nice because I'm very humbled and flattered to meet fans that say they grew up listening to me, stuff like that. I just think it's neat. I work in a booth all the time. I don't get to actually see people that enjoy the work. So I was doing a convention in Miami a couple of years ago, and a group of young men came up to me and said, "Did you do the voice of Meta Knight?" And I said, "Yeah." And they said, "Well, we just want to thank you." Now, those of you who've never been to Miami, Miami has a very large Spanish-speaking community. And they said, "You were the only character on Saturday mornings that sounded like us that didn't make fun of us."
Wow.
Oh.
And I said, "Wow, I didn't even think about it that way."
That's
So
touching.
when people ask, what are your favorite characters, Meta Knight was definitely in the mix, but that moved him up because you don't really think about that when you're making a choice like that. Because I grew up in New York City. You want to talk about diversity and stuff like that.
Exactly.
If you don't get along with other people, then move.
And you already
know?
knew that like it's not like the caricature voice isn't real.
But I was
yeah.
he was the coolest character to me in terms of cool
Yeah.
on that show. And I guess if you looked at the Saturday morning, voices that were going on, he was the only Spanish, voice that was like that.
Crazy.
So it was
Yeah.
kind of neat that all sort of came together like that. And I would never have known that if I didn't go to
That's
a
so
convention.
But you're more conscious of now. As like I'm not saying.
Yeah, well,
like-
because I've also
yeah.
played, I've played, that's the magic of voice acting. I've played women, different ethnic groups. I've played different ages. Anything you can sound like, you can play. Whereas as a face actor, as we call them, I'm limited to what I look like.
Right.
And it's against the law of like the rules of SAG and AFTRA to request someone who is authentically anything. You say, I want someone who can play. So I could not say I need authentic Spanish people for this. I'd have to say I need someone who can play someone who is Spanish,
Right.
someone who is Asian. What you cannot, it's what you can play, because you can't go by. I mean, now we're such a melting pot of people. Like, well, what are you, right? I mean, I was Master Yoshi on Turtles.
Right.
Now working for a Japanese American company and being asked to play an Asian accent without being offensive. I mean, I was kind of flattered that they liked what I did, because it was not offensive.
Right.
So you know what I mean. And then
it's
I've
such
also
a fine line, though, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
you want it to have the character, but you also don't want to be like, oh, come on now, really, like that, because I've heard
Everyone can go the over the top.
Yeah,
or
exactly.
it's
You don't want the whole Godzilla effect, right? Yeah.
right,
yeah, exactly.
right.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
but I've also played, I've been asked to play characters that are kind of like, I mean, I'm the Magikarp salesman, and that's one of like the Cheech and Chong version of kind of,
Yeah.
and it's very offensive, but that's what the director
The script wanted, yeah.
from that, and it's like, sometimes you don't even think about that, but
He's in-
now
yeah.
I'm more conscious of that.
He's in one episode, anyways.
He came back like 10 years later.
Wow.
Oh.
Yeah, I remember when we were towards the end of working on the show, they said, we're trying to figure out who plays this character. I'm like, oh, that's me.
You're kind of
like,
like,
oh,
oh,
right.
don't
Like,
remind me.
we're asking around.
Yeah. They're like, it's me. Yeah.
Out of all the anime characters you have played, I know this is going to be a very tough one. Which one was the most fun to you?
So not my favorite, but one of the most fun, because
fun,
picking
yeah.
your favorite
Yeah, like,
character
I
is like
was-
picking your favorite child.
No, exactly. I was
and
gonna
as
ask
I
the
joke
face.
So it's
around,
very easy.
I'm an only child. Well, say, I'm an only child, and my parents still haven't made that choice.
Ooh.
So I always liked comedic villains. I think that there's more depth to a comedic villain than any hero.
So am I hearing James?
What I like about James is you have to remember that when James is already a voice I'm doing, and then he then gets in disguise, so you're having a voice you're doing put on another voice.
Mm-hmm.
And
It's
that's
layered.
such a fun challenge. And also, most of the time, I could care less what was going on in the rest of the episode, because Team Rocket had to come in,
They just
do
show
their
up.
thing, and I had a limited amount of time, unless it was an episode really based on them, to make it funny.
Yeah, make that impression, right?
It didn't
Yeah.
matter what
Yeah.
else was going. It was like, boom, you're in. Here's like 5 or 6 lines. Make it work, and then
And
you're
boom,
gone.
you're on.
Right?
Ding.
So did you like those like interjections by Team Rocket more than, because there are episodes where it's a little bit more Team Rocket centric.
Focused,
right?
yeah,
I
like
prefer,
the backstory.
because to me, and yes, it's a character that I loved playing, but to me, it can get old if it's like wall to wall of that. I like the moments of like, oh, that was a nice break.
Yeah.
That they came in and did their thing. But
You're the exclamation point.
yeah, but I also, I mean, I have to say that he was the most fun to play. The biggest challenge in terms of personality is walking the fine line with Kaiba of he's not a villain, he's a rival. And there's really a fine line to walk there, where his job is to push the champ to be the best. Because if you don't have someone doing that, then the champ can just relax and not do anything.
Right.
Yeah.
So for those of you who are familiar with the whole story arc, when we get into the Egyptian side, no spoilers. But he's
Wait, how long has that show been out now?
Exactly.
Yeah. I think the grace period's over.
They're like,
Yeah.
I didn't watch that part. But we learned that Kaiba is basically his sparring partner, right?
Yeah.
Well, how do you address being a sparring partner in modern day high school? You can't. There's no
Yeah,
such
there's
thing.
no equivalent.
So the way to play that is he's his rival. He's not his enemy. And so it was a fine line to find that nuance that, yeah, you could be annoyed by Kaiba, you could hate him, he was mean, but you also knew at the end of the day that there was something redeemable about him.
Yeah.
And
That's like the classic like Goku Vegeta relationship.
yeah,
Yeah.
And as an actor to be able to do that and be convincing with that, it was always fun to do. It was
Right.
a great challenge.
Now, something that blew my mind was that you were Brock and James. Now, of course, Brock and James do interact quite often.
I'm also
on the show.
Butch.
Butch, Butch is.
other
I know,
Team Rocket.
like that's
Butch and
he's
Cassidy.
he's the alternate Team Rocket
Yes.
that shows up like once every 500.
50
There is an episode where all three of them are arguing with each other, which I call Eric Stuart featuring Pokemon.
Yeah, I was just wondering about that because
Would you rather do a one shot or did you do take for?
Oh, we always record one voice at a time.
Okay.
okay, that's important.
Though
Because,
though I've done live radio where they've had Eric Stuart on like the morning show with Brock and James, and I've had to talk with all three of them, and that's easy to do really early in the morning before you're actually awake.
Yeah, because I've heard stories from people like Scott McNeil who have done multiple voices on multiple shows, right? And like they're literally running around the studio just to different mics, almost like doing the voices, right? So that was what I was going to ask. But if you're doing like one voice at a time,
No,
then
one
it's
voice at a
Oh.
time.
You want to keep your sanity, is what I'm hearing.
I can do it. I mean, they're very different, but no, that's not how we work. And sometimes, some of the other dialogue is recorded, sometimes it's not. So you're almost doing the response before you're doing the question.
Right. That's kind of a bummer to me because since you also do the Pokemon voices, I'm just envisioning you running around the studio going, James, Brock, and then like Squirtle.
Well, I'll tell you the reason that I'm like so many of the original ones is that when we were booked to do our human characters, sometimes a new Pokemon would be introduced into that episode, and we'd listen to the original Japanese for the cadence and the pitch and the sound of the original. And then the director, I directed a lot of Pokemon down the road, but in the beginning, the director would say, hey, Eric, since you're here, there's this deeper voice character like Blastoise. Will you be Blastoise in this episode too? So that's how that stuff was assigned. We never auditioned for those Pokemon. It was who's coming in to do their session.
That kind of makes sense because there could be way too many in terms of like the variety, right? Like in a single episode, you don't know.
Right.
Well, and also when we first started doing this stuff, anime and all of that was still like, I don't want to do that. There weren't a lot of us doing it. There were probably like 10 guys and 6 women that were doing all of it. Wow. Of course, now that animation has become so big that celebrities want to do all that work, it's changed that a lot. So we were doing so many things because we were the only ones doing it.
Right.
So that's why I'm so many of the Pokemon in the beginning and especially the ones that sound like they do. I mean, of course, Squirtle is different, but anything that's big and deep, it'll either be Dan Green or me, things like that.
Also, like fun fact, because like I said, I do my research. You're also Dexter.
I am the Pokedex. Yes.
Yeah, you are Pokedex.
Yes.
I like that a lot. I don't know, because you're like you'll have the Pokemon. It could be Squirtle,
right?
And then it'll be like Ash will be like, oh, what's that?
Yeah.
And it's like,
Yep.
hi, this is me.
I'm talking about
Standing
myself.
at me, talking to me.
Yeah,
looking at me.
I always liked. I mean, and what's great about like Squirtle, the water Pokemon. What's great about that ridiculously like quirky,
C-3PO
yeah,
almost.
exactly.
Yeah.
That robot talk. It was just a fun thing to do. Of course, there was no lip flap, but there was timing.
Yeah, because they had the light flashing, right?
And sometimes I was like, who wrote this? Because remember, when we're doing the transliteration from Japanese to English, sometimes the amount of words used in one language take 3 seconds to say the same things that 15 seconds of English take, or vice versa. So when they translate it, they go, oh, well, this is how we describe what Squirtle is. And I'm like, yeah, but in Japanese, it was 3 seconds worth of dialogue. In English, it's 10. I can't say. So sometimes I had to say it really fast, or sometimes they're like, yeah, can you slow it down? And it'd be like, Squirtle, the water pool.
I was like, Dexter,
It's
you're
like,
running out
could
of
you just
battery?
add some? Yeah, could you just write some more words for me? I could talk about something. Squirtle, one of my favorite Pokemon, and the water type.
You're not allowed to have an opinion.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a turtle that shoots water from its mouth. What more do you know,
Yeah,
right?
right.
What more do you need?
That's right.
I just want to take the time for our second ad here.
Looking for a good time? Check out Level 1 Escape, where you will be locked in a room with friends and forced to solve puzzles and take part in fun, unique challenges. Defuse a bomb to save the city. Dodge an evil corporation's laser security system, Mission Impossible style, or escape from a possessed spirit. Also, try our virtual reality arcade where you can fight off the zombie apocalypse, hunt dinosaurs in the Jurassic era, or slice fruit into 1,000,000 pieces. Interested? Visit our website at level1escape.com and check us out at our booth at Otafest Aurora, where you can demo our VR setup, win some prizes, and more fun stuff. Level 1 Escape, Calgary's premium escape room experience and virtual reality arcade.
Have you ever tried VR? Like, it's
back
amazing.
way back in the day, but now this is.
Are you
really-
talking? Wait. Back in the day, are you talking like virtual, like Nintendo Virtual Boy?
even
like,
before that?
Oh my goodness.
What do you mean by before that?
Like you'd go to like a trade show and they'd have
Oh.
the full on thing that you'd wear and
Okay.
you'd fight somebody in there. But what's really cool about this is you have a choice of either fighting dinosaurs or slicing fruit.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. The choice is tough.
Why can't
you
we
can't
do
slice
both
dinosaurs.
at the same
and
time?
you
But,
can't
but I
hunt
like that. So
dinosaurs.
if you're not really into like the super violent thing, you could sort of just make a fruit cocktail. I think that would be neat.
In virtual
dinosaurs.
reality.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a restaurant game.
No, I'm
Yeah.
actually a huge gamer geek. I mean, besides
Ooh.
being a
All right, what do you play? And where-
well, no,
on what?
I'm going to blow your mind with a little gamer geek isms. First of all, I have my Atari 2600 in a box with 50 games. I have the
man.
original
That was my first
PlayStation ones with the 6-foot link cable. And before online gaming, that's how old I am. What I had were two Sony picture-in-picture tube televisions in my house. And what I would do is play Doom with my friend who sat in one room while I sat in the other room with our PlayStations had to be really close to each other because the link cable was so short. And I would send the video out from his PlayStation to my picture-in-picture and send mine to his.
Oh, so you could,
So
yes.
I could see his view
Yeah.
on my picture-in-picture screen. Right? I've got my NES. I've got my Genesis with the 32X
32X,
adapter so I
yeah.
could play Doom.
Yeah.
I've got my PS2. I've got my Xboxes. I'm now playing my Xbox One. I have played every Wednesday night for the last 8 years with the same 3 guys. That's our poker night. We play only mission-based co-op games, and you're not allowed to play that game alone. If any one of us is not available, you can't play.
Oh,
So-
dedication.
mission-based co-op games. Are you
That's-
talking more like?
We're playing The
a-
Division right now.
Ooh,
Okay,
oh
okay.
man.
Okay.
We play like Borderlands,
Do you
The
play?
Division,
Do you play
Halo.
Destiny?
Left 4 Dead?
Destiny's
We
a great
did
one.
all of the Left 4 Dead and all the
that used to be
DLC.
us.
Yeah, that was.
But
used
what's
to be
what's
us.
fun
I
is
hate Left 4 Dead now.
they're all voice actors. They're all guys.
Oh,
who know-
that's
Oh,
man.
that's so cool.
What if you end up in a game that you're like they're like, no, I don't want to hear myself anymore.
Oh well, yeah. I mean, we
Or, I
I
know
don't
the
think-
story for this.
I don't think we've played any games that we've voiced, which is good.
Yeah.
But we are such gamer geeks, and we even have like that sort of water cooler because we play every Wednesday.
Yeah.
Thursday texting. That was really cool. That mission, right? Yeah, that was cool.
I can't believe you screwed
Yeah.
up on the boss.
Well, the other thing is what I've, and this is another thing. This is how much of a gamer geek I am. The cooperative side. See, we don't play other people.
Right.
Because I mean, I've been gaming for so long. I don't need to outfrag some 15-year-old punk playing games, right?
Yeah.
I don't need to do that, right? That's not my thing. I'd much rather see if 4 guys who are all very strong personalities can work together and no
And
man left
cooperate.
behind.
Right.
Like the
Yeah.
goal is that we all make it through the missions. And it could be a game like we're playing The Division, which of course is a little violent. If those guys played sports, I could do it with a football game or something like that. But it's very interesting as an experiment in how even later in life when you're dealing with business and meetings and cooperation of how people fall into categories and not everyone needs to be the leader.
Yeah.
That lieutenant is almost as important, if not more. The person that's watching your 6, might not get all the action, but without that person doing their job, the person in the front would not survive.
Yeah.
And
Right.
so that's why we have fun doing it.
Yeah.
And so it's just great. So yes, I'm a big gamer. So
I wish I could game with you guys. Like, our matches are the opposite of that. We're all trying to kill
We're
each
just
other.
salt generators.
We're just salt generators trying to
Yeah.
tilt each
We're playing
other.
a lot of Overwatch.
well, yeah, but if you're
Yeah.
familiar with the Division, there's the Dark Zone.
Yeah.
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 We don't do that.
Right.
Because the concept, if you're not into that game, but the concept is trying to get your stuff out of there before other humans steal it from you.
Yeah.
Or I had a friend who was playing with strangers and for 3 hours was in the dark zone, and then at the very end,
They
the
backstabbed
3
him.
of them decided to kill him and take his gear. And
Of
he's like,
course.
"What do you?" And to me, that's totally the wrong
Vibe.
the vibe, and
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
not fun to me. I'd much rather like, oh my goodness, my friend is pinned out there alone.
Yeah.
I'm going to
Gotta
risk
get them.
my life to go get
Right.
it.
Yeah.
You
There's
know?
like that whole camaraderie.
If,
Yeah,
if I might
camaraderie,
make
yeah.
a suggestion, Destiny, you'll love Destiny
But
a lot.
what platform is that?
It's PS4, Xbox
yeah,
One.
so
Yeah,
it's on the one?
it's on the one. Yeah,
But it's 3-player multiplayer.
no, you can go up to 6. Actually.
Now you can? Okay,
Yeah,
good.
You can do 6 people. You
That
can
was
go
a
into
new
a
one.
raid.
Okay, we'll have to
and
check
it's
it
just
out.
really
Yeah.
crazy
We'll have
enemies
to
and
check
stuff.
it out.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
We
played
might
a
have
lot
to
of-
go. I think we might move on to Gears of War because I'm
Oh,
friends
yeah,
with
Gears
John
3 is on
DiMaggio,
Ooh.
and I have to hear him
Oh.
say, "Bring it."
Oh man.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
are you
still-
ever tempted to use like voices over like voice chat and stuff? Where you're,
Oh well, one
Like
of the guys
personalities.
that plays with us is also one of the engineers, and he saves lines
clips?
from voice clips.
Yeah.
So we'll be in a really really intense moment, and all of a sudden you'll hear, "I'm not gonna fall for some Egyptian god card garbage," and I'm like, "Come on, man!" Like he's playing back Kaiba
Yeah.
stuff, and I'm like, "Come on."
That's so funny. No,
That's good.
yeah, that reminds me of the guy who plays McCree on
Yeah, in
Overwatch.
Overwatch.
Yeah, because like in Overwatch,
he's a cowboy. Like
he's a cowboy, but like
Yeah.
it's just like there's a
There's a voice line.
There's a
he
voice
has
line that
when he uses his
activates-
ultimate ability.
Yeah, and, like-
he says it's high noon.
but like the voice actor will actually go on chat and go, "It's 7:30," and then everyone gets confused.
or
Anyways,
even he'll play because he plays his character that he voices, and he'll go in voice chat and he'll repeat the line just to watch the enemy team
be confused
run.
and run.
yeah.
Now you mentioned Doom. Have you
Yeah.
played the new one?
I have not played the new one.
Oh, you should. You should. It's so good.
I mean, I love the series.
Yeah, I built a PC just to play the new Doom. It's everything the old '90s Doom was, but just amped up to modern day levels.
I mean, that was
of crazy.
that was like groundbreaking.
It was.
When,
Yep.
I mean, that's why we had that whole picture-in-picture thing set up. Like, my friend would come over to my house to play that with me. That was a big deal.
That
you
was
know?
GoldenEye 64 for me.
Yeah, GoldenEye
On
64.
Oh,
yeah,
I remember
that.
GoldenEye
No,
64.
no, I grew up on Doom, so it's
Yeah.
got a soft spot in my
Yep,
heart.
yep.
Yeah. Okay, shifting gears a bit away from cartoons and anime, you have a pretty illustrious music career, I'd say. You have opened for Ringo Starr, for Leonard Skinner, and for Jethro Tull. How did that happen? You might want to educate us.
I was playing the club scene in New York at some pretty well-known clubs that people might, I mean, the Bottom Line is a famous one, the Bitter End, things like that, and
You gotta love those names, hey?
yeah, and then
We don't have anything nearly as classy here. We have like the unicorn,
The back alley.
the back.
The back
Well, a
alley.
lot
not
of
the-
those
it's not the
places
back
aren't
alley,
around
no.
anymore. I mean, the Bitter End is still there, but the Bottom Line is gone, and but Kenny's Castaways, all these really cool spots where the history of the whole sort of the folk scene was down there in the village and stuff like that. And I was playing these clubs, and my management team at the time, young guys. Then this is the days of cassettes. For those of you who don't know what a cassette is, that's what you use your pencil on to fix.
I knew you were gonna say
right?
that. I literally was waiting
When
for
you
to
see
say
those
that.
pictures online, you're like, what does that do? So my management company said to me, we have a situation where there's someone that's looking for an opening act, and I had been playing with my full band. They need a solo acoustic opening act. Do you have anything recorded of just you? And I said, no, I really don't. And they said, well, could you do that? So I went into my walk-in closet with my cassette player, with a little recordable cassette player, and had clothes on 3 sides and put a blanket on the door, and I had one of the click lights like this, and I recorded about 4 or 5 songs of me just singing with my guitar, and I had to mail the cassette to my. This is like before, right?
Yeah.
This is 97, right? And they submitted it, and about 2 weeks later, I get the call. They said, "Okay, so Ringo Starr listened to your tape, and,
Oh my God.
I just got there. Don't worry about
and
that.
wants you to open the All-Star Band tour. It starts in Seattle in like 3 weeks. And it's 26 dates." And I said, "Okay, great." So I packed my stuff and flew out. First of all, before I did that, I looked to see who was going to be in that incarnation of the All-Star Band. For those of you who are not familiar with what Ringo does, it's kind of like listening to classic rock radio. He brings together all-stars and makes a band out of them. So that year was Peter Frampton, Jack Bruce from Cream, the drummer from Bad Company. These are all classic rock people. Then, of course, Ringo, and then Gary Brooker from a band called Procol Harum, which sings Whiter Shade of Pale. And then they had a musical director, because when you have all of those egos, And you have to have
You
someone
need
who's
someone
gonna-
to balance
you're going to
it.
play this.
For some reason,
and
you
you're
need
going to
a
play
little
that.
bit.
and you're
Yeah.
gonna- oh, okay, got it. So
Especially Gavin
these
Cream,
were
yeah.
all people that had, individual.
So you walk into the room.
Well, what I did was I bought the Encyclopedia of Rock and Roll.
Mm-hmm.
And that's truly what the book is called. It's about this thick. And, they come out with a new version of it every couple of years. And I read up on everybody. Because I didn't want to be in a situation of having a conversation with any of these people, even though I was fans of theirs. I didn't know enough about each one of them.
And this is before Wikipedia,
Right.
of course.
And of course, don't trust anything you read on that because it's all fan supplied. But I wanted to be at least knowledgeable. So I flew out to Seattle for my first show. I'm with my manager, and we're backstage. We haven't met the band yet. They're sound checking. I hear them sound checking. And then I hear over the little PA box in my dressing room, Eric Stuart, please come to the stage for sound check. And I'm like, okay, cool. So I walk up onto the stage, and it's a beautiful theater. It's me, the sound man, and my manager. Big empty room, everybody's gone. And I play a song, or a verse and a chorus of a song, and I say, how does it sound? Out to my manager. And from the wings of the stage, I hear, sounds great, you got a good, powerful voice, I really like what you're
Oh
doing.
my God.
And I look over, and it's Ringo, and he had been standing there for my sound check. And so he walks out onto the stage, and I walk over to him, and I shake his hand, and I say, it's such an honor to be here. Thank you so much. I'm a huge fan, and whatever. And he's like, it's great to have you on board. And as we're parting, I punch him in the arm as if he's my old-time buddy, like that. Yeah. And as we're parting, he's walking off stage right, I'm walking off stage left, and I say to myself, you just punched a Beatle. What is wrong with you? But it was a great experience. So Frampton was on that tour,
Right.
and after I finished touring with Ringo, the people at Skinner with the Skinner band saw me open for Ringo, and they needed an opening act. So 3 days after I got off that tour, they took me
It
back.
like a chain of events. For
Like
you,
I
right?
did 26 dates from the West Coast all the way to New York, and then started 3 days later in New York and went all the way back the other way with
Wow.
Skinner
Holy
That's
crap.
so
out on the
cool.
road. And then when I finished that, Frampton produced my record, and I did 2 tours with my band right after that. So I was on the road for 4 years, 4 tours.
Was that like the longest you'd ever been out like that? Just-
Yeah, I mean, and it's great because you get to see. I mean,
Everything,
America is
yeah.
huge.
Yeah,
And actually, we did some.
Canada's
We did a
bigger.
show. I did a show in Vancouver. I think it was called. Was it? It's your big amphitheater there. It's named after a beer company, I think, or something.
I don't-
It was.
Molson
Was
Place,
Molson's?
Canada
'Cause
Place.
it's probably-
Canada Place?
Yeah.
I
No,
No,
guess?
Canada
Okay.
Place is new. Like
Yeah.
super new.
No, it's not. Pretty old.
The Olympic one?
Was it BC
Canada Place is
something
now
or,
BC Place. I don't know. What, either way.
Anyway,
yeah, either way. Yep.
So
Sorry,
anyway,
Vancouver.
so it gave me a chance to really see so much of the country, and of course a little bit outside of the country, and travel like I've never traveled before. But it does wear on you. You do feel like, where am I? And you don't really get a chance to like,
Right.
unless you get a day off to really experience the city or wherever you are. But it was great. I mean, yeah, it was a thrill, and I'd watch the show every night. I'd finish, then get in the audience and watch, and take notes from to me the teachers, the experts, things like that. So it was great.
Guys, I'm 1 degree of separation away from a beetle.
Yeah.
Guys.
Oh, and another funny story was, so Ringo's real name is Richard, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when I first get there, they're like, okay, Richie wants this done, and Richie wants that
You're like, who the
done,
hell is
and I'm
this
like,
guy?
who's Richie, and why does he have so much pull?
Yeah.
They're
Doesn't
like,
anyone
they're
know,
talking
want
about
to know what
And I
Ringo
was like,
wants around here?
Oh, and then don't let the goofball act fool you. He is one of the smartest. He's a nice man. He's one of the smartest businessmen you'll ever meet. Very organized guy. Ran that show.
You kind of have to be, though.
Super
Yeah.
tight.
Yeah.
And a sweetheart of a guy. Just a very generous man. But he's the Goofy Beetle. No, he's not the Goofy Beetle.
I think that was George, maybe.
He's the Quiet Beetle.
Oh.
Get it
That's what
right,
they call
Alfred.
Gosh, Alfred.
Just because you're now 1 degree of separation, now you think you know all the Beatles.
No, that's just insane to me though, because these are bands that got me through high school. Right?
Yeah,
So it's like
and that's the other thing about the career choices I've made. Voice acting and directing have allowed me to pay bills. And as a musician, I only play original music. And so because I have something to fall back on in terms of being an actor and being a director, it gave me the freedom to take music jobs with the question of, where do you need me to be and how long do you want me to play? not how much are you going to pay me. Because if I had to do that with the Ringo tour, the Ringo tour actually cost me money to tour. Because I had to keep up with it. I didn't make enough. I think on my contract it was something like,
happens a lot. Like, I think a lot of
maximum
people-
exposure was what it said. I played to 500,000 people that year.
Yeah.
So, and we sold a lot of albums, which I never would have done because they were there.
Right.
So, having a fallback plan gave me the freedom to only do the kind of music that I wanted to do and have that kind of experience. So, So even if you're, working in a bank or doing construction or whatever it is, you don't want your art to be a drag. You don't want your passion to become a drag.
Absolutely.
And I have a lot of musician friends that have found that they've fallen into certain scenarios where music is a job only.
Yeah, like it's a rut, right? Like,
and they're burnt out.
yeah,
They
like
don't
it's
enjoy it.
almost like
The
your
day
creative
that
outlet is
Right.
is almost gone, right?
the day that I don't enjoy playing is the day that I put the guitar down and say that's the end of it. Like I need to write and I need to play. And I'm playing a show today, and if there's one person in the audience, I'll put on a show for you because that's what I do. Hopefully there'll be more than one person, but that's my passion. Whereas if it was like, well, what are
we
we
know we're gonna
charging
see
for
you guys.
admission?
We'll remember each one of you,
how
and
much
you're
am
gonna
I? That's not why I play music. It's
Right.
never been why I play.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We are running short on time.
I have one more ad read to do, so I'm going to interrupt. Since 1996, Memory Express has established a leadership position as the premier destination for computer products and services across Western Canada, with stores in Calgary, Edmonton, Vancouver, and Winnipeg. Whether you're looking to build your own gaming machine, need a new high-definition flat-screen TV, or just want information on computers and electronics, Memory Express is here to help. If you're looking to purchase online, Canada-wide flat rate shipping is available for only $8.99 for all orders under £50. That's like 3 whole PC builds plus accessories. Visit MemoryExpress.com for all your home electronics needs today. We want to thank Memory Express for sponsoring our Hearthstone tournament here at Aurora 2016.
Just on that note, that was a very good place to end, by the way, Eric.
Cool.
That was beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
So, if you guys want to see more of Eric, your concert is at 4 o'clock in the Orpheus Theater.
Your music can be found on...
You can go to either my website, ericstuart.com. If you want to stream and not actually pay me a lot of money, you can go to Spotify.
that's a whole other podcast.
But you can get my music all over. We've got 7 albums. We're about to do our 8th album right now. And actually, just if I can end on this one other sort of bittersweet note. We're doing a new album to raise money for a longtime band member that's dealing with prostate cancer right now.
Oh, no.
His name is Phil Nix, and he's played with me for over 20 years, and he's gone through surgery, and he's recovering right now. But we thought, let's do 2 really good things for him. One, if we could do a new album so that he had something positive to focus on besides hospital rooms and stuff like that, because I do believe in the positive thinking is a great medicine.
Correct.
But also, the proceeds from the album will go towards helping him out, because as a freelance musician, being physically unable to do a lot of stuff can really affect how he can pay his bills.
Yeah.
So if you go to the site, you can donate to the cause. But yeah, we're working on a new record for Phil. So there you go.
Awesome.
That sounds good.
Awesome. I think I will go do that.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, so as well, you do have a Q&A panel tonight at 8 p.m.
Yes.
So if you guys want to hear more from Eric, hear a little
We asked
more.
all our questions.
Asked
That's
all our
that's the
questions. Yeah,
benefit,
no, I'm done. I'm 1 degree separation away
outie.
from Ringo Starr.
You're 0.
So
I'm
I'm
separation
fine.
away from Brock.
There you go.
Yeah,
exactly.
Thanks, guys. You guys, you have a great podcast and good questions. I appreciate that.
Yeah, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you so much for
so
having
thank
us
you for
here.
our audience for joining us. Just
Yep.
for our podcast. Thank you.
Our next
for,
panel coming up is Bento Bonsai, which is hosted by me and
Yep.
this guy.
Yeah,
best
so
friend.
that's a extreme eating contest. If you guys are
Hi,
into
Big
that,
Bar.
so thank you very much, Eric, for joining us.
Thank you.
Yeah.
This is going to
Please,
be
we want to thank Funimation Now, Escape Room, and Memory Express.
Yep.
And also, you can find us on YouTube for all of our episodes. Like, comment, and subscribe, please.
yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
If you like what you hear, then please support us.
Yep.
This is Alfred signing off.
This is Jay. Goodbye.
Dio, see you later.
Gotta catch them all.
Pokemon. Thanks, guys.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Bye, guys.